Hey, it's Tanya, and I'm up again with one final layout with the May hip kits. I was putting them away and I thought, hang on a second, I've got a couple of scraps of piece of paper here, I could probably put those to good use. So I just went for it. And I apologize that you didn't see my thought process with how I came up with what I've got there, but the file was corrupted. Go figure. And yeah, I turned it around like that and liked the design better, but when I had it with the triangular sort of shapes at the bottom, it very much reminded me of a beautiful layout that Arit did for hip kits. I think she was using the May kits as well. Anyway, you should check it out. It's lovely. She makes this tree scene really pretty, and this kind of reminded me of that. So I wanted to just give her a shout out for it. So yes, those are two warthogs wallowing in the mud. You gotta say they are not the most attractive apple. What was that? My apologies. They're not the most attractive animals in the world, especially when they are wallowing in mud. But they look so cute there. That little guy, he was as happy as Larry. He just sat there and preened and just stared at me and said, "Yep, you're not as happy as I am, are you?" Well, at least that's what I kind of imagined him saying. He probably was looking at me thinking, I like mud. So I had that frame which I had already backed with one of those 3x4 cards for another layout, but I never got around to using it. So I thought it actually went really well because it says there picture perfect and then something about enjoying being together. So I thought that kind of really tied in with the two of them there in the mud. And I really am down to what you see on the left there is pretty much what I have left of embellishments. So it's a really, I wouldn't say sparse. It's not a sparse layout. I suppose you could say it's a very simple layout when you look at it because there's not a whole bunch on it, and it's not. I love to throw stuff on, but having managed to get a layout out of what I essentially thought was nothing, I was quite chuffed. And now I've got my title. Originally I wanted to go with sort of like, "Hey bud, how's the mud today?" I know, very imaginative. very imaginative. But that's what I kind of had an idea that the one on the right was saying to the dude on the left. But then I couldn't get it to fit on that card because the today, well, that was it, "Hey bud, how's the mud today?" But it was too big. So then I looked through and then I found this 3x4 card and I thought, hang on, I can use that one and just change my title ever so slightly. So now I've got going, if I could just get that out the way, there we go. I've got something like, "Just a little hello bud, you loving life?" Yeah, I mean, I'm hip, I'm happening. I'm a hip warthog. So that's how and that little heart, I was going to use that as the point for the question mark, but it was too big and it wasn't working, so I just shoved it up the top there. And that actually at the top there works out quite well too, because it's got that snapshot and then there's happiness on the frame, and you'll see I do a little bit of something up there to tie that in too. So now I got rid of the "just a little hello" because that didn't tie in, and I'm going with "Hey bud, loving life?" Because remember, we're hip and happening. Yes. And I took the frame away and then I brought the frame back, and I was kind of sad to cover up a lot of what I had because I thought that frame worked out nicely, with the today and the other triangle. But sometimes you have to make a choice. It's obviously not Sophie's choice. This is scrapbooking. But sometimes you have to decide between one or the other, and you might like the other one a little better, but doing the second choice is the better design choice. There we go. That was a very clunky, awkward sentence. My apologies. And I'm using the finger technique to color in those figures, and that is abandoned coral. And then I've remembered, oh, hang on, I found and that the spare piece of that 3x4 card that I'd cut up, there was a triangle, so I did get to tie another triangle in, so all was not lost. And I do try and fit that frame down there because to my mind something needs to happen down below, but then I work out, you know what, and that comes a little later. So here I go. I've got snapshot of happiness, because they do really look happy, don't they? Well, I don't know. You've got to really look in the close-ups. They look happy there. Yeah, trust me on this one. And then I thought, you know, I've got a question here, and I really do need to answer the question. And I figured he would go, yes, which he duly did. I know I'm really, really corny sometimes with these things, but I don't know. You know what I do? I look at photographs, and that's when I come up with the titles, because I look at them and I figure, what immediately springs out to me in that photograph. And the way they were sat in the mud with the one dude all chuffed and sitting up and the other dude on the right hand side, it just kind of, there was an interplay there of the left hand dude's the dominant one and the right hand dude's kind of, you know, submissive, and he's going like, hey bud, you know, you're loving life. Okay. What was that? I'm actually quite embarrassed now. Anyway, so the submissive one is going, hey bud, you're loving life, and the other dude is going, yes. And that's, you know, that's kind of how I came up with that title. Now I'm figuring out where I need to put something at the bottom, because with the triangle shape at the top, it really needs to be balanced out, and that's why I put that big red heart down below there. And then I thought that would ever so good to tie in and more red at the top with that frame, which I turned into a tag. And I only had 3 hearts left on my little sheet, so got the orange one in there, and I'm going to show you. See, I've got 3 hearts. Now I'm thinking, do I need red somewhere else? What should I do with that? And I don't know where those little words, well, big sheet of little words comes from. I've had it in my stash for donkey's years, so no idea. And interesting enough, when you use these Tim's tiny letters and you use them a lot, you work out exactly which letters you use the most. I am like on the 5th sheet. Oh, and I'm finished. Oh dear. But I'm like on the 5th sheet of S's. So there's my layout. All I did was splat it at the end. And there you see, doesn't he look happy? So thanks again for watching, and we'll chat again soon. Bye.